Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Holiday Cup, and today we're going to take a look at 10 teams that they can run in this league. Also, we're going to take a look at the holiday event real quick, because there's going to be a new Pokemon released, which is going to be Bergmite and Avalugg, and we're going to take a deeper look into Avalugg in general for the whole PvP and the Cup as well. So let's start to talk about the Cup and also the new event coming up. In the Holiday Cup, there are only Pokemon allowed that have the typing Normal, Grass, Electric, Ice, Flying, or Ghost, or like one type in general of them. If they have a different type with that, it's fine, but they have to have at least one of those types in their typing. And the Cup starts with the 16th, and with the 16th as well, there is gonna be an event coming for the holiday, winter holiday in general, and this is split in two parts. And basically the first part we can completely skip. That's like just normal spawns. We are not really a channel where we talk about the whole events. I could start doing that if you're interested, but I'm not 100% sure if that's something where people would watch that. But for the second part, we're gonna see that Bergmite and Avalugg gonna get released, and that's something that I'm a little bit more interested in. So let's take a look at those two guys. Bergmite itself is sadly pretty useless. Like, even with XL, it doesn't really get to any good CP level, but Avalugg is a Pokemon I really look forward to. This Pokemon looks amazing. In general, it looks very unique because you don't really have Ice type Pokemon that actually have stab Ice Fang. Like, Ice Fang is usually not the best move, but it does a lot of damage. So Ice is also a very attacking typing, so it actually hits a lot of Pokemon very hard. So I think that Pokemon has a lot of play, especially because it has such nice stats in general, but not really for Great League. We're going to take a look here at the stats for the Holiday Cup. It has the moveset where, like, you always want to run Ice Fang in general, but you have the option between Crunch, you have the option between Avalanche, you have the option between the Body Slam, and you can also run Earthquake on that for the charge moves. This thing has a variety of charge moves, which is like really cool. And this basically gives you like kind of also some bait potential. Like, you can run Earthquake on the thing, and like you don't even have to have it. You can basically bait it on opponents, and maybe people who actually fear the Earthquake have to shield it against you. But here for the Holiday Cup, I would recommend you to run the moveset with the Crunch Body Slam. Body Slam is basically always the moveset, to be honest. Like, you don't really want to get rid of Body Slam, such a good move and such a cheap move. So I think Crunch is here better just for one matchup instead of like Avalanche. That's the Frostless matchup. You win against Frostless if you have Crunch, while you wouldn't win against it if you have Avalanche. If you take a look at the other leagues though, as I said already before, for Great League it doesn't really look too good. There is like, you win against Trevenant and Altaria and Diggerspin, things like this. Okay, that's something that you might expect. Actually interesting that you can win against Skarmory. Here with Avalanche, usually I think every other moveset is with Avalanche because it's such a good strong move as well. But when you look in the Ultra League in the open version, it's like, it looks really decent. And it can beat like so many Pokemon. So I think it's really good in open Ultra League. It looks like it really matter. You can also run there with Crunch and maybe even have something as Jellicent. But Avalanche in general, it's just really good. And then even in Master League, this thing gonna be cool. In open, not as much as in the restricted Premier Master League, which you're gonna have in the end of the season again. But like in normal open, it already looks kind of okay because you can beat all those dragon. But like in the other one, it's most likely going to be so meta because you destroy the Dragonite, you destroy the Togekiss, and there are a lot of ice type weaknesses in the meta for the Premier Classic Cup. So this thing going to be just really amazing. Let's go right into the teams. I kind of want to keep that short a little bit, but we have the first team here with Frostless, Vigoroth, and Obstagoon. This backline was last year when you played this cup literally everywhere. Like, you had this team in general everywhere, but you can also use something like Altaria in the lead, but you have to be careful about Vigoroth and Obstagoon in the back. This team is like pretty solid in general, because if you're swapping a Vigoroth, you basically get most of the time out the Pokemon that's good for you, like in general, like a fighting type Pokemon against you. So Obstagoon doesn't have to face that. And Frostless is really good against fighting types, so you have the plus there. You can run Altaria in the lead as well, which is also good. But Vigoroth in general is going to be on nearly every team that you're going to encounter. This thing is crazy good, and yeah, you definitely should try to get one, or like at least prepare for that thing. It's going to be everywhere. Like, literally, you're going to see that nearly on every team. Vigoroth everywhere. Next team is kind of focused on a Pokemon that I think has a lot of play as well, and might be a little bit more on the spicier side. Going to be Graveler, and the Alolan version of Graveler. You don't want to have the other version. Here I'm playing it with Altaria in the lead and Marek in the safe swap position there. I could also use Graveler as a safe swap, but then like Diggersby is a thing in this cup. Diggersby is good in this cup. You might have some problems with that. So I think Marowak still has some more play, even against Diggersby, a little bit more play. Not really though, actually. So not the biggest difference there. But Marowak has a lot of play as well against the Charm users, which is cool. And I know that I used a similar team to this last time this cup was around, and nothing really changed too much there. I think it still might be really decent. And yeah. Marowak might be, you can use every move. I would say Fire Spin is still decent. Fire Pokemon in general in this meta again are pretty decent because they look like at really tough. Charm user doesn't really want to face it, and a lot of ice types in this meta as well as Skarmory, Frostless in general. Like you have a lot of stuff where fire types are really good against. The third team might be a little bit familiar to you. This is the team that I usually run in Great League normally. This is my Talonflame Vigoroth Ferrothorn team. Fire type or like flying type with Talonflame in the lead available, normal type Vigoroth, and a grass type with Ferrothorn. And this team looks amazing. Like look at this, there's nothing really that loses to it. I would recommend you running Flash Cannon on Ferrothorn here definitely for the matchup with the Trevenant, and in general like other matchups with like ice type in this league. So this team looks amazing. Like there's literally nothing where I can say this is like bad or anything like this. It looks so good. Like literally I can recommend to you, this must be amazing now. Talonflame was not available like this I think before last year, so this is completely new. And definitely something you should look into and maybe run this, because if you already had fun with that team before in Great League, use it here. Like this must be like one of the best teams that you can use. It is already the next day now, and I feel a little bit sick, so I'm sorry if my voice is a little bit different than yesterday. But yeah, next team here, Team 4, we have a team around Avalugg, and this team only going to be available for the second half of the period where this cup is available. So if you want to get an Avalugg team already for this, then as soon as it comes out, here might be a team for you. As I said, 23rd of December, Avalugg gonna be released. That's directly in the middle of the cup, and here we have Lantern in the lead, we have Frostless as a safe swap, we have Avalugg in the back. I kind of want to have like something that can beat fire types, and especially like something like the Talonflame. So Lantern is pretty good for that. Lantern doesn't really like to face something like a Diggersby or in general ground types, so you have two ice types in the back that can deal with that. You have decent coverage against all the fighting types, and you basically have with Frostless a really cool Pokemon to bait out those counters to the ice types as a safe swap there. So I think this team has a lot of potential, especially with Avalugg. Gonna be a very interesting team to use. Again, also Altaria is good against Lantern. You have two good answers in the back for that. It looks like a pretty decent team. Vigoroth can be a little bit of a problem, as well as the Trevenant, but Trevenant against Frost is also kind of neutral. It's definitely a kind of solid team. But yeah, Magnezone actually kind of run through this team, but I don't think a lot of people are gonna run Magnezone. Team number 5, gonna be a team around Diggersby here again, but Diggersby with Hyper Beam in this case, because we have a double ground team with a lone Ninetales in the lead. And yeah, with Diggersby with Hyper Beam, you can actually use it as a safe swap pretty easily against most counters for the Ninetales in general. Ninetales was Charm, so you're kind of weak against the Talonflame usually, but you can do a lot of damage with the Diggersby against the Talonflame still, while you actually can handle those moves as well really, really easily. So I think Diggersby as a safe swap in this cup again with Hyper Beam is really, really cool. I know I used it last time it was around, and I can definitely recommend it to you. Like, do double ground, go for Diggersby with Hyper Beam as a safe swap, and you have like all those like flying types going into you. In general, all those counters for the Stunfisk, and Stunfisk, normal Stunfisk, not the Galarian Stunfisk. That's not a lot like Galarian, just the normal one. The normal one is also really good in the current cup, and Charm users are always really good, and I think Ninetales might be the best one for that. And yeah, in general, like if you have the Diggersby as a safe swap against, for example, like Altaria coming into you, you actually can win the matchup with Hyper Beam and the Zero Shield. So you always get a shield advantage, and afterwards, if there's shield, you can farm them with the Ninetales as well. So you're always in a decent spot there, and you can avoid that with a Stunfisk. Team 6 gonna be around a Pokemon that I think has some more use than it looks like here right now, because Drifblim gonna be the hardest counter that you can have against the Vigoroth. Like Vigoroth, all those moves are completely double, or yeah, I think all are double resisted. So there's nothing that a Vigoroth can really do against the Drifblim. So having this on your team might be really cool. Also, like maybe in the back, if you have like something that's weak to counter users in the lead, then you can swap that in. But here we have it in the lead in general, have Vigoroth itself in the team as well, and then we have Graveler in the back. In general, you can also use something else than Graveler in the back here. Some Diogong, something Lapras should be alright. The main goal here is just you have the hardest counter to fighting types in the lead. You have a Stay Swap that can deal with most Pokemon, especially most fighting types like Obstagoon, pretty decently with the Vigoroth. And then you have something that's weak to fighting types in the back, which kind of wants to avoid them as a closer. And yeah, here we just have this team. A little bit weak against Trevenant maybe, but I think you should be fine on the tier shields here. It only wins because it baits, because you can get to the Icy one with the Drift Blim faster than he can get to a move. But maybe this gives you also like the idea that you maybe want to run Dugong or Lapras instead in the back. That's kind of on your side, but those are like a valid option instead of the Graveler. As said before, who the hell gonna play Magnezone? And this is something that we have here in the team. This is a team I used last time when this cup was around, and it performed way too good. It's Metaria, Magnezone, Magneton, Magnet-a-Hole basically. And like if you think about the weaknesses in general, like it's like such a good team. Like there's nothing really that can do something. Even Graveler looks like such a big threat for this team, but it's not really. Like all the moves are resisted on Magneton, Magnezone from Graveler. And also Altaria can win on the 2 shields I think easily because of the Dragon Breath damage. And yeah, like you see here, Diggersby complete hard wall to the Pokemon in the back there, but you have the Altaria, which completely is a hard wall to Diggersby, and there can only be one Diggersby on one team. So it looks so good on paper again. Like it looks so fantastic on paper. I don't think there's any problem, as well as most ice types that are really usable. Of course, ice types have a weakness to steel types, and both of them have like a steel type charge move. And then you have like Lapras, for example, which is also weak against the electric type moves. So this team looks like really like a lot of fun. I played the last time around and definitely gonna play that again. This team looks amazing. Team number 8 gonna be a little bit on the funnier side. We have Diggersby, Ho-Oh, Talonflame. This team kind of loses hard to the Altaria, to be honest. I mean, you can one-shot that with the Talonflame, you can one-shot that basically with the Ho-Oh. I mean, not really one-shot, but do a lot of damage. Actually, Talonflame says it wins here, but I think it baits and then basically one-shot it with a +1 Brave Bird there against the Altaria. Maybe you want to get something else in Diggersby, you can play something like Lapras in the lead as well for this team, I think. That should be also fine, something that counters Altaria. I think Lapras might be actually really decent as well for this team. But you need a counter, especially for the Graveler. That's like very important because your backline can't do anything. But here's actually a team where Ho-Oh might function well, and yeah, you have like Shadow Ho-Oh now available, as this was like recently in Giovanni's thingy there, and we already got a event where you can get rid of the frustration. I'm definitely gonna play Shadow Ho-Oh as well in the new cup there. Gonna be really a lot of fun, and it looks actually hilarious. You can also play something like Charizard instead of either of them, of course. Charizard has also a lot of play in this meta. It's really cool. Like I know that Charizard also had a lot of play last time around. But in general, yeah, you have like Ho-Oh and Talonflame, basically the same typing, basically the same thing. And it might be a lot of fun to play this. I don't know, but it's like more like a fun team. You can play something else in the lead, of course. But it looks funny, like Ho-Oh has some play, Talonflame with a lot of play in general, so might be cool. Here's a team which I think gonna be really cool in general as well. We have the Altaria, we have the Vigoroth, and we have the Alolan Sandslash. Or Sandshrew. And here we have Sandshrew in here actually. Sandshrew needs XL, can you need a 100? You kind of want to power it up to level 50 or even level 51 would be even better. Not a lot of people have that, so Sandslash gonna be also as decent in this position. But it actually looks really cool and kind of hilarious. But a little bit of a problem with Frostless, but other than that, this team looks pretty cool. And usually Frostless is a Say Swap. So if they Say Swap into that, you can go into the Sandshrew or the Sandslash. Yeah, Sandshrew is actually way better. I think you would actually want to have Gyro Ball or something on the Sandslash. And you should be able to counter that. But yeah, it's like a fun team around Sandshrew. I kind of wanted to build something around this Pokemon. It's going to be definitely a very good Pokemon, but very expensive to build. I know a lot of people have that. I kind of want to build one as well. I need some more XL candy, but I have a hundo actually, so I should build one as well soon. Definitely a funny team though. And into the last team, we're going to see here the team with Stunfisk, Lapras, and Obstagoon. Lapras in general looks like a really cool Say Swap in this league as well. It would be the Say Swap here. It's a little bit weak against the Vigoroth, maybe even against the Ninetales. You could think about differently that counters fighting types a little bit more like Altaria again, but I didn't want to use Altaria again. Altaria is definitely usable there, but also a little bit too weak then against Ninetales. But yeah, in general, the core of the backline there with Lapras and Obstagoon should be already decent to get out of the fighting types, but Lapras is such a cool and strong Pokemon that it can actually deal with most Pokemon pretty easily, even it's a negative matchup like the Vigoroth. Like, you still get that thing super low because you can get to Surge pretty easily. And the Ice Shot hurt as well there, so definitely interesting there. Maybe a different lead again, but it's a little bit different. You can also use like a Charmer in the lead, and something like this would all work out pretty well. The lead is not really that important here. It's kind of balanced, but I think the backline looks really cool. You can also use Dugong again. Dugong is just the problem against the Lapras matchup itself, because Lapras always want that, and it's like hard loss for Dugong. But Dugong otherwise is a little bit bulkier and can actually flip so many matchups with the Ice Fluent. So Dugong definitely has a lot of play in this cup as well. But yeah, this is gonna be it for the video. Thanks all for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, otherwise subscribe as well, and leave a comment which team you want to play in general, if it's one of this, if it's like some other team. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you're gonna enjoy this cup, which is gonna start in like only a few days, and see you in the next video.